You practiced your answers, you dressed professionally, and you showed up on time. And yet, you didn't get that job offer, and nobody told you why. Watch on to know exactly why. It's easy to lose confidence if English is not your first language or if you're not very fluent in English. I've seen firsthand as a recruiter how stiff immigrants can be and how NRIs struggle with the language, and their nervousness somehow shows up and they end up ruining their chances of getting a job offer. Hi, welcome to my channel. For those of you who don't know, I'm Sana, your HR friend and job coach, and I've been a recruiter and a HR professional in Australia for over 10 years. And prior to that, I worked in India for around 5 years as a generalist HR and recruiter. And I'm trying to help NRIs and other immigrants who are new to a Western country navigating the very, very complex job market help integrate and settle more efficiently. If you are an NRI or an immigrant navigating job interview process in a new country, then it might not be your skills or experience that is the problem. It could be something else. It could actually be your cultural habits, communication styles, or unspoken rules that nobody warned you about. And in this video, I'm breaking down 5 of the most common mistakes that I've seen immigrants and NRIs make in job interview processes and exactly how to fix them. Stay until the end because mistake number 5 is the one that quietly kills all the job offers. Mistake number 1, being underprepared or underselling yourself. In many cultures around the world, especially the Indian culture and many Asian cultures as well, modesty is a virtue. We are taught from a very young age not to brag about ourselves, not to hoot our own horns, or not to take credit in public. That's an amazing value, but that's not going to work for us in a Western job interview. But here's the reality, in many job interviews in countries like Australia, the US, the UK, or Canada, they expect you to honestly but confidently claim your own accomplishments in your professional history. For example, when they ask you to tell about a time when you led a project, they don't want any team answers or any humility, but instead they want your impact, your contribution, and your leadership. That's what they're expecting to hear from you. Another thing that I've noticed in NRIs and immigrant candidates is that they are severely underprepared. They're not very efficient in answering basic questions like, tell me about yourself, why have you applied for this role, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses. They just don't get it right. And the fix is easy. Just take some time and practice the answers for the common interview questions, but also try to give some incidents from your career as examples. It's always good to talk about previous situations, and it's always amazing for interviewers to hear about stories from your previous jobs, your leadership stories, your teamwork stories, your lessons, and all these kind of stories are really interesting to hear, and we are analyzing what you have learned and what you're going to take away from those incidents, so it's a win-win. Use the STAR method to answer. If you're not very familiar with what the STAR method is, it is easy: situation, task, action, and result. So try to think of all the incidents from your past jobs, from your previous jobs, and try to put them in this format: situation, task, action, and result. An example of a weak answer for my previous question about leading a project would be: we all worked together as a team and everybody contributed, and in the end, the project was delivered on time and the client was very happy. An example of a strong answer would be: I led a team of 6 cross functional members deliver a project rollout 2 weeks ahead of the deadline, thereby saving the company $40,000 in contractor costs. You notice the difference, right? A practical tip that I can give you at this instance would be to write down some of your top achievements, maybe your top 5 achievements, and then think about what you did, how you did it, and what was the outcome, what was the result. This is very important. And also try to talk in numbers. If you give some numbers, dollar figures, or percentages, it adds more value to your answer. You can also practice these answers well ahead of the interview. so that it feels more natural and not very boastful. And there you have it. You got a wonderful, amazing, impressive answer. Mistake number two, your eye contact and body language not syncing with the words you say. You can say all the right things in an interview and still not end up getting the job. Why? Because your body is telling a completely different story. Research says that how we are perceived in face to face interactions go beyond just the words that we say. It depends on our body language, like our eye contact, our facial expressions, our sitting positions, postures, gestures that we make, how we enter into a room. All of this actually matters. You know what? Body language is deeply cultural as well. So, what signals attentiveness and respect in one culture could completely mean the opposite in a different culture. People may perceive that you are very nervous, or maybe disrespectful, or not attentive. I'll give you a personal example. When I came into Australia, I initially thought folding my hands like so is actually very respectful. I used to do this a lot in India and nobody batted an eye. But when I came to Australia, I realized that people would think that I'm very closed off or I'm not open to their opinions because folding hands would completely mean a different thing here in Australia. Here are some of the examples of bad body language that I've noticed in NRIs and immigrants during interviews. And I'm also guilty of doing some of these. One of the examples that I've noticed is slouching. So, NRIs tend to slouch or keep themselves smaller or lower in front of authority. This is a good thing back home, but it's considered that we are not very self confident or we don't even believe in ourselves. So that's a no no. Another example is having very minimal facial expressions. Like back home, it's okay not to smile really widely or just have a very professional, straight uh, face to everyone, even during interviews. That could actually signify that we are being professional back home, but that's not considered very friendly here in Western countries because I've noticed some NRIs have a very strict face and very stiff face, and they come across as being rude or not very approachable. And that's another no no from me. Another example that I could give is your handshakes. Women are guilty of doing this, having a very gentle handshake because that's who we are. But that might not work in a professional setting in a Western country. Your handshakes need to be firm, not too hard, but not too limp. One practical tip that I can give you here is to practice the power posture. I'm not sure if you've heard it, but the power posture simply means that your head is straight, your shoulders back, nice and relaxed, sitting straight, your feet flat on the ground, and your hands open like this on the table or on your lap. Just breathe deeply in and out. And this not only helps the other people perceive you as confident, but it also gives you a sense of natural self confidence. Lean in slightly towards the interviewer who is speaking. This denotes that you are engaged, and also nod along, not a lot, but just here and there. That sort of shows that you are following along what they're saying. When you enter a room, have a genuine but bright smile, have good, clear eye contact with everybody in the room, and give a firm handshake. That sort of sets the tone for the interview and it gives a wonderful first impression, and that sticks for a long time. And talking about eye contact, this is very cultural as well. In some cultures, eye contact is supposed to signify respect. So a lot of us naturally look down when we're speaking to a person of authority, but that might come across that we are being disrespectful or not engaged or being dishonest to Western interviewers. Another thing is that some cultures might encourage direct eye contact for a long time. That could also work against us because that could mean being rude. So just try to have a balanced approach to the eye contact and have a healthy medium. And if there are many interviewers in the room, try to shuffle across between everybody. I would say 60 or 70% of your eye contact belongs to the person who's asking the question, and rotate among the other people here and there. That is considered a healthy medium. Mistake number three, not researching the cultural expectations around small talk in the company. Not many people tell you this, but the interview actually starts way before the actual interview starts. Did you understand what I meant? For example, when an interviewer asks, "How was your morning? How was your journey getting here?" A not so great answer would be, "Oh, it was fine. I took the train." Quiet, silence. But instead, try this answer. "Oh, the morning was great. I took the train here and I walked half of the way as well. Just thought I'll get my steps up. It's amazing. The sun is out. And I look forward to this conversation." Did you see that? That makes a world of difference. The interviewer immediately makes a connection with you, and then you are considered being easy to move around and being more friendly to approach. So, my suggestion here would be that while you are preparing for all your basic interview questions, I would suggest that you also prepare some of these other pleasant topics and light-hearted conversation topics like the weather, what you like about the city, what's the best part of your week this week, and perhaps something nice about the company as well. So, this means that you are prepared to talk to the interviewer before the interview starts and after the interview finishes as well. And you are making a good connection with the interviewers. And I would also recommend that you do a bit of research about the company culture. Look at the Glassdoor reviews, look at Google reviews. In Australia, you could also look at Seek reviews and find out what the company culture is. Is it a startup or is it a law firm? Very professional. It all depends. And the culture sort of skews from formal to casual depending on the company as well. So get the vibe check right before you go for that interview. Mistake number four, being hesitant to clarify the questions that are being asked. Saying yes when you don't fully understand the question. Other than cultural aspects, this is also being rooted in language underconfidence, I could say. When the question is being asked and then we focus on one part of the question, or if the question gets too complex or goes on in many sentences, and then we only focus on certain parts of the sentence or the question, and then we assume what the question is and start answering it. But it could be a very wrong answer because we've understood the question wrong, and we don't even pause to ask to repeat the question or if they can clarify what they are asking. Instead, we just go along and give the wrong answer, and this is immediately noticed by the interviewers, and then they question your ability to judge and your ability to clarify and communicate as well. So, this will definitely work against you. Here's what I want you to hear. Clarifying a question is not a weakness. In fact, it is a strength. It could show that you are being careful before you could answer, and experts agree that it also shows signs of intelligence when you thoughtfully clarify a question. For example, when you don't understand a question fully, you could give an answer like, "Just making sure that I'm giving you the right answer," or "just making sure that I'm understanding the question correctly," and then repeat what they said. This not only buys you more time, but it also signifies that you are being thoughtful and careful about the answers that you want to give. Strong communicators do this all the time. This is definitely a professional skill that you want to own. Mistake number five, not asking questions at the end of the interview, or perhaps asking the wrong ones too. This one is an offer killer. When the interviewer asks you at the end of the interview, "Do you have any questions?" I've seen most NRIs and immigrants being thankful that the interview is over, and they just simply say, "No, you've covered everything. I'm good. I'm all right." But that is a genuine mistake. This is a golden opportunity for you to ask the right questions and make that final amazing impression on the interviewers. Not asking the right question simply signifies low interest or lack of confidence. And unless the subject comes up naturally, please don't ask about salary or benefits or upcoming leave. That is going to leave a flat impression on the interviewer only because it signifies that you are focused more on what you can take from them than to what you can actually contribute to them. So, the fix here is to prepare again with three thoughtful end of interview questions. Your questions could be like, what does success look like for this role for the first 3 months? Or, my favorite, and this is something that I usually ask in all my interviews, is what are the challenges that this role typically faces? And another question that you could ask is, what's something that you enjoy about working in this company? So these show genuine interest about the role in the company and show to the interviewer that you are genuinely interested in working there. And that's it. Here's a quick recap. Don't undersell yourself or don't be underprepared. Be confident with your body language and eye contact. Prepare yourself for good, pleasant small talk. Don't hesitate to ask clarifying questions, but do it thoughtfully. And finally, end your interview on a high note by asking three thoughtful questions about the role and the company. So, there you go. If you avoid these five mistakes and implement the five fixes that I gave you, it's just going to add so much of value to your already existing skills, knowledge, and experience, and it's going to take you to the heights that you truly deserve. Good luck, NRI. If this video helped you, please share this with a friend, colleague, or a family member who is going through a job interview process or is job hunting in a Western country as an NRI. I'm sure this will add a lot of value to them and help them get that dream job of theirs. And comment down below on which of these mistakes you have done and which mistake actually surprised you. I will read all of your comments and I'll try to engage with all of them too. See you in the next one.